Ever feel like financial success is this elusive spider web? You see others, they're just effortlessly spinning theirs,
Yeah.
catching all the good stuff, all the opportunities, and you're stuck there like, how do I even get started?
Right.
Well, Tanzanian AI entrepreneur Fadhil Zimba, he might just have the blueprint. His book, Wired as Money, Financial Seed Thoughts, it grabbed me from the title alone.
I mean, who doesn't love a good prosperity code, right?
Exactly. But it's more than that, right? Because
Yeah.
Zimba himself, he's this fascinating mix. We're talking cutting-edge AI in a place you don't usually associate with it.
Definitely not the first place you think of.
So today, we're diving deep into this book, Wired as Money,
Mm.
to see if it's your ticket to financial freedom or just another one of those motivational mazes.
Right, right. And what's so intriguing is how Zimba uses this really vivid image of a spider web to represent building wealth. It's not about, just haphazardly chasing money, but meticulously crafting a structure that's actually designed to attract it. So think about that for a second. How are you currently structuring your financial web?
Well, yeah, it's a powerful metaphor, right?
Mhm.
He calls it the web of thoughts.
Mhm.
And it gets at, like, the core of how our brains work, right?
Mhm.
We're pattern seekers. It's in our nature. And Zimba says, by recognizing and then replicating the patterns that actually lead to wealth, we can, like, rewire ourselves for financial success.
It's like, have you ever noticed how once you spot a certain trend, you suddenly see it everywhere?
Oh, totally.
Like your brain is trained to zero in on it. Zimba believes we can do the same thing with opportunities for wealth.
It's true. It's true. He talks about this thought structure readiness, almost like prepping your mind to attract wealth, right?
Yeah.
Planting those financial seeds.
Yeah, and what I find fascinating is how this ties directly to actual neuroscience.
Oh, really?
The more you focus on a particular type of thinking, in this case, those thoughts connected to abundance, financial abundance, the stronger those neural pathways actually become. So it's like you're building this mental superhighway for wealth to flow right into your life.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. He talks about these 3 levels of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Material, psychological, and spiritual. Now, we all know about the material stuff, your cash, assets, maybe a yacht if you're really like
Living the dream.
living the dream, exactly. But Zimba says most people, they get stuck at this level. They miss out on the real game changers.
See, it's about recognizing the power of those other two levels. The psychological, that's all about your mindset, right?
Mm.
Your beliefs, your attitude towards wealth. Are you stuck in that scarcity mode, or are you actively cultivating a prosperity mindset?
Wow.
Zimba argues that until you address those really deeply ingrained beliefs, true abundance, it'll remain kind of out of reach.
So even if you're not rolling in it yet, having that right mindset, it's like laying the foundation,
Yeah,
right, for that future fortune.
exactly. It's the groundwork. And then there's the spiritual money level.
Okay, now we're getting esoteric.
This one can be a bit more, how shall we say, out there for some people.
Right.
Zimba actually quotes Reverend Ike here saying, money is God in action. Now, before anyone gets, the wrong idea, we're not advocating for any specific belief system here. Think about it this way. What if money is simply a reflection of the energy we put out into the world?
It's like that saying, money doesn't change people, it just amplifies who they already are.
Exactly.
So if you're coming from a place of generosity, abundance, positive impact, maybe that's the energy that attracts more wealth.
Precisely. It's about examining that relationship you have with money on a deeper level,
Oh.
Are you using it for good or just for, selfish gain?
And that's where I think Zimba's money is the getting power of self-awareness idea comes in. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
He's not just talking about, like, knowing your go-to coffee order.
Right.
It's about truly understanding your strengths, your values, and yeah, even those limiting beliefs that we talked about.
And this is where the science gets really cool, actually. Self-awareness, it literally strengthens your prefrontal cortex.
Come again.
That's the part of your brain responsible for all the important stuff decision-making, and that includes financial planning.
Wow.
So the more self-aware you are, the better equipped you are to make those smart money choices that lead to, lasting wealth.
So it's like giving your brain a financial upgrade.
Exactly.
So we've laid the groundwork, right? We've got those mental pathways, all prep for abundance and all that. But how do we actually start spinning that web of wealth? I like that visual.
Yeah, that's where that's where his action plan comes in. He wants you to become a business soldier ready to, strategically navigate the financial battlefield.
Ooh, okay. So I'm picturing myself in camo gear, but instead of dodging landmines, I'm dodging bad investments.
Something like that. he lays out these trade missions. Basically, they're strategic operations designed to, help you conquer those financial goals. Remember how we talked about how our brains are wired for pattern recognition?
Yeah.
He's basically providing you with those patterns for success, drawing on like military strategy and actual real-world business tactics.
So instead of feeling lost in the financial trenches, we've got this battle plan ready to deploy. I like it. Give me an example. What's one of these trade missions? Give me the inside scoop.
Okay, let's say you're trying to break into a new market with like a product or service you have. Zimba calls this a market penetration mission.
Ooh, I like it.
He wants you to think like a strategist. So you analyze the terrain, you identify your target audience, and then you develop this tactical approach to reach them. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so he's not just talking about throwing up a couple social media posts and hoping for the best.
No. This is about deep research,
Yeah.
competitor analysis, understanding like what makes you unique, that unique selling proposition, and then crafting a message that really resonates.
Okay, I'm with you. So we've infiltrated the market. We're gaining some ground. What's next on the trade mission checklist?
Well, Zimba is also a huge advocate for like innovation. He wants you to be constantly evolving your offerings. You got to think ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
That's where product development comes in.
Got it.
He wants you to tap into that inner Elon Musk. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not be afraid to like really challenge things, challenge the status quo, and develop some game-changing solutions.
I see what you're saying. So that's where all those Elon Musk quotes come in.
Right.
But even if we're not all destined to colonize Mars or anything,
Right.
I think there's something to be said for, embracing that growth mindset,
Yeah.
constantly seeking out those innovative ways to like actually create value.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, dreaming big. You have to lay the groundwork, right?
Yeah.
Zimba talks about setting up your money depot, which is essentially your like financial boot camp.
Yeah.
He recommends dedicating, 6 months to a year to really like mastering the language of money,
Oh, wow.
understanding and inverting, strategizing for the long term.
See, this is where things go from like really exciting to maybe a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
A whole year dedicated to a financial boot camp. I mean, what does that even look like for someone who's, they're just starting to build their web?
It doesn't have to be as daunting as it sounds, though.
That-
Think of it as like an investment in yourself, right? Like even an hour a day, you dedicate that to, reading books on finance, taking some online courses.
Okay, that feels more manageable.
Right.
Yeah. So we're learning, we're strategizing, building our financial fortress, but we're not in this alone, right? Because Zimba talks about the power of collaboration, right? Forming those strategic alliances.
Exactly. Remember that spider web analogy? It's not just about the individual strands, but how they like connect and how they reinforce each other. Forming those strategic partnerships can be a game changer, whether it's collaborating with other brands, finding a mentor, or just being part of a supportive network.
It's that whole rising tide lifts all boats thing applied to business. I like it. But, Zimba doesn't shy away from the more, I don't know, aggressive side of business either. He talks about these acquisition campaigns, which sounds a little like corporate warfare, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely a bolder move, not for everyone, for sure. But he argues that strategically acquiring other businesses that fit your vision, it can really accelerate growth,
Right.
and expand your reach. Of course, he emphasizes doing your due diligence, making sure it's a win-win.
Yeah, of course. So it's not about just steamrolling the competition,
Yeah.
but rather about, those strategic partnerships that create a stronger web for everyone.
Exactly. And just like, in any good battle plan, adaptability is key.
Right.
Zimba wants you to diversify those income streams, explore different investment opportunities.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. You got to be ready to pivot when you need to.
Yeah. That's his diversification ops mission in action. I love how this all circles back to that web metaphor, right? So even if one strand weakens, the whole structure is still strong because we've got that diversity, we've adapted. Okay, so let's circle back to those 10 commandments of money for a second.
Right.
We talked about how Zimba, he really wants us to shift our whole perspective on wealth, right?
Yeah.
Moving away from that like scarcity mindset
Definitely.
and embracing something more abundant. But how do we put that into practice? Especially when we're talking about, building a business, making those real world moves.
Well, that's where I think those commandments, they become super practical. They're almost like like an ethical framework for how we approach, creating wealth and doing business. It's about making sure your actions are lining up with your values, not just like chasing profits for the sake of it.
Right. Right. He's not just saying go make a pile of money. It's bigger.
Way bigger.
Like that commandment, thou shalt use money righteously. What's that even mean on a practical level?
It's about this idea that wealth, it's a tool. It's not the end goal in itself. So when you're building your business, you're not just trying to, line your pockets. You're trying to solve a problem, hopefully, create something that has value, make a difference somehow. It's about like your business goals, but they're aligned with your purpose.
It's got to be bigger than you.
Exactly.
And that actually leads us to another one. Thou shalt invest in thyself. What's the connection there? I mean, is he talking about like just self-care retreats?
Well, there's definitely a place for self-care, but he's talking about recognizing that your biggest asset, it's you.
Okay.
It's your knowledge, it's your skills, your own development. Investing in yourself means you never stop learning, never stop growing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that not only benefits you, but it makes you even better at building that successful business.
So it's like that constant evolution, that upward spiral. Yeah. And this is where like embracing new tech comes in, right?
Oh, totally.
He's big on AI.
Yep.
He even gives like a whole list of resources, OpenAI, Kaggle.
He's all about it, lifelong learning. And it's not just for your career, it's for you. It's about how much you can contribute.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just learn it yourself, which actually reminds me of another commandment, thou shalt teach others about financial wisdom.
Right.
I love that one. It's like, pay it forward.
Right. Share what you've learned. Be that mentor.
Lift each other up.
Exactly. It's not just about your own little island of success.
So Zimba's challenging us to look at this whole wealth creation thing, not as like someone wins, someone loses, but...
It's not a zero-sum game.
Exactly. More like an opportunity for everyone to grow together.
Totally. And that's really clear in his whole emphasis on circulate money. That third part of his financial trinity we talked about earlier, it means understanding that wealth, it's supposed to flow, it should create opportunities, help build a more equal playing field.
So it's like use your resources to support other businesses you believe in, give back to your community, create that ripple effect.
Exactly. And it all comes down to intention. Like, are you hoarding wealth for yourself?
Or are you using it to make a real impact?
That's what Zimba makes us ask ourselves.
Oh. So we've covered a lot about Zimba's like whole philosophy on building wealth, and it's about a lot more than just, starting a business.
Oh, for sure. It's about cultivating the right mindset, having a strong set of values, and really committing to making a difference.
This is one of those deep dives I'm going to be thinking about for a while. I'm already putting some of his ideas into practice, I gotta say. I hope you are too, listeners.
Yeah, it's a journey. It never really ends, but that's the exciting part. There's always something new to learn, to explore.
Who knows? Maybe we'll even do a deep dive into some of the resources he recommends in future episodes.
Oh, now there's a thought. We could definitely unpack some more of those financial seed thoughts.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into Wired as Money. Thanks for joining us as we tried to unlock this whole African prosperity code. Or maybe it's more about unlocking what's already within us.
Until next time, remember, you're wired for wealth.
And stay curious, everyone.